The Senate is expected to vote on the Pain-Capable Unborn Child Protection Act as early as this month. The Pain-Capable bill protects unborn children from abortion after 5 months, more than halfway through a pregnancy, and when science shows babies can feel pain. The United States is only one of 7 nations in the world that allows children in the womb to be killed for any reason up until the moment of birth. Support for the Pain-Capable bill is high. Reportedly, 78% of millennials support it. And President Donald Trump has promised he would sign it into law. Senator Mike Rounds of South Dakota is a co-sponsor of the Pain-Capable Unborn Child Protection Act. He joins us from Capitol Hill. Thank you for your time, Senator.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity to visit.
There are reports the Senate will take up the Pain-Capable bill this month. Can we expect that?
Good question. Right now, it's probably the most valuable time on the Senate floor is time on the Senate floor. We've got a number of items coming up, which includes trying to fund government again for at least between now and the end of September. But I think that there are a number of different proposals that have the possibility of coming up. I have not seen anything confirmed yet that will be one of the items that will come up in the next week to 10 days. We're hoping that it will come up appropriately at and around the March for Life time period.
We'll be watching that closely. President Trump has said he would sign the Pain-Capable bill into law, but do you think it will pass the Senate? And what will you do to convince your colleagues to support it?
Well, as you know, in the Senate, it requires 60 votes, and that's going to be part of the challenge. Very seldom do we ever come up with an agreement for 60 votes for almost anything in the United States Senate. But this is one of those items that I think has a strong possibility of receiving those 60 votes. So I'm optimistic, but you never know until the bill is up. And I can pretty much tell you that unless we've got the 60 votes, they probably won't bring it up for a vote because they'll have so many other things that are in demand to get done as well. But we're optimistic that they will be able to bring it up, and that as they bring it up, that would be an indication that we do have the 60 votes in order to get it passed.
Senator, you have also co-sponsored the Born Alive Infant Protection Act, which would protect newborns that survive abortions by requiring appropriate care and admission to a hospital. There's news the House will vote on that bill. Why is that piece of legislation one that you support?
Well, let's just talk common sense for a little bit. I think a lot of us, we can talk about being pro-life, but when you talk about real life that's there and obvious, I think you gather more support. And so let me just begin. I'm pro-life to begin with. I believe that we should protect life from conception to natural death. You protect the very young and the very old. Can you think of a better definition of very young than a child in the circumstances that you've just described?
And finally, Senator, the Affordable Care Act subsidizes hundreds of plans covering abortion. Now Congress is considering a spending bill to bail out Obamacare plans, but without the Hyde Amendment. What do you make of that? And would you oppose legislation that supports taxpayer funding of abortion or plans that cover abortion?
We have the Hyde Amendment since 1976, and the Hyde Amendment, which is what we used in most appropriation bills, stops the use of federal funding for abortions. And what we want to be able to do with the product that you're talking about, which is called the Alexander Murray bill, is a transition out of Obamacare. We hope to have that attached to an appropriation bill where the Hyde amendments are continuous in nature. That takes care of the issue, and it prohibits those funds from being used for any abortions.
So you would want to prohibit the use of funds for abortion?
Absolutely. Look, all of us that are here that are pro-life in nature, we want to make sure that the funds that we provide through the taxpayer dollars that are there, that they never go to fund abortions. That's one thing that a lot of us feel very, very strongly about. At the same time, we know that we have to transition out of Obamacare. This transition is the next step in the elimination of Obamacare, and our plan is that if we attach the Alexander Murray product to an appropriation bill, we are afforded the protections under the Hyde Amendment. And that's the discussion that has been occurring within every discussion that I've had concerning this particular transition plan. This is the next step in the elimination of Obamacare.
Senator Mike Rounds of South Dakota, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
For reaction and analysis, we are joined now by our trusted pro-life expert. Marjorie Dannenfelser is president of the Susan B. Anthony List and joins us now in this busy week. Thanks for being here.
Big week.
Yes, it is. And next week, too.
Yes.
Senator Rounds is a co-sponsor of the Pain Capable Unborn Child Protection Act. Why is it important the Senate vote on this, even if it's not likely to pass?
Yeah, it's very, very important, the vote that was had already, because there has been one vote on it, but it's very important to be taking a vote in the year of a really, really important election. These midterm elections in the Senate will be decisive in terms of what legislation will get passed, will get through the Senate. There are senators, it is going to be a really, really, really tough vote to vote no on this late-term bill, 5 months. So Claire McCaskill, Heidi Heitkamp, John Tester, tough vote for them, and if they vote the wrong way, our people that are already in their states are going to be telling voters at their front doors what their senator just did.
We'll be tallying and looking at their votes, absolutely. Amen. Another pro-life news this week, it was announced the House will vote on the Born Alive Abortion Survivors Protection Act, long name, next week. Can you tell us more about this piece of legislation?
Yeah, the Born Alive bill protects an unborn child if they are born during an abortion, but they clearly are alive. There's a lot of documented evidence that this happens quite a lot. There are nurses who've quit because they were forced to be involved in such a thing. Jill Stanek, who works for us, is one of those people. There is a law on the books that defines what a baby is. So. But it doesn't have any, in terms of the Born Alive in that instance, but it does not do anything to put teeth in the law, require that the child be taken to emergency care immediately and that child be revived and helped in that moment. Imagine the heartbreaking moment of seeing that child and leaving it in a soiled room to let it die. That baby deserves help.
And there are abortion survivors who are now some great outspoken pro-life advocates.
That's right.
I was almost a victim, but now here I am.
That's right.
On another piece of pro-life legislation, it is a busy week. The funding deadline is January 19th, the same day as the March for Life. As you heard Senator Rounds say, he claims that the Alexander Murray Amendment would include and would afford the pro-life Hyde Amendment protections. Is that your understanding?
Yeah, well, I think this is a really important thing for the pro-life movement to know right now. That bill, that spending bill, very similar, was moving a couple of weeks ago. I got together with the Vice President and the leader of the Senate and a couple of other pro-life leaders, and we said no go on this bill if the Hyde Amendment is not in it. They agreed. They said fine. They let the bill move without that health care Alexander Murray bill. Now that is divided. So the health care bill, the Alexander Murray bill, will be voted on in a separate place in the appropriation. We believe in the Appropriations Committee. We hope that'll be the case. If that happens, the Hyde Amendment will be in it.
Okay.
There is that spending bill that's very important on the day of the March for Life. It doesn't have any pro-life related stuff in it, but there will be important pro-life votes on that very day.
And so many pro-lifers will be here in D.C. as well. It really is an exciting time. So much to monitor, so much to look for. We're really grateful for your analysis. Marjorie Dannenfelser of the Susan B. Anthony List.
Thank you.